Namaste, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another uplifting episode of Pauzeitive. I am Vijayalakshmi, your host. In the previous episode, we discovered that how Krishna is always available in such a busy world for his devotees. We learned about some great devotees of Krishna like Draupadi, Prahlad, Dhruv, Sudama, who called out in the need to Krishna out of love and utmost sincerity. Taking that conversation ahead, today we will be diving deeper into the realms of spirituality and the mercy of Krishna and his devotees. I was reading one of the book which is by Debashish Chatterjee, and it is called Krishna the Seventh Sense. In this book, I have been exposed to some brilliant pieces of Krishna and his devotion. And how wonderful it is that in a world where everyone is so busy, if we take out a few minutes and dedicate them to our Isht, our God, in whom we have treasured all our faith and love, we get so much in return. So one of the episode is on devotion, a beautiful narrative illustrating the incident of Udhav and Gopis. So Udhav was a very learned person and he was a dear friend of Krishna. One day, Krishna requested Udhav to kindly visit Vrindavan. Udhav thought that why Krishna wondered about those illiterate village women who fed him butter and simply frolicked with him. What is so special about those gopis? So to inquire, he went on as an emissary of Krishna. So when Udhav arrived in Vrindavan, the sun was about to set. He was charmed by the serenity and rustic beauty of Vrindavan. Talking of Vrindavan, Vrindavan deserves at least one sole episode on Pauzeitive. It will be coming soon in the future. You have my word. So lamps were lit in the household, bees hummed, birds cooed, and cows lowed in leisurely contentment. The Gopas, cowherd men, and Gopis of Vrindavan, the simple cowherd boys and girls, were singing in praise of Krishna, even though Krishna was not present in Vrindavan physically. Still, all the people, all the residents of Vrindavan were always busy in praising about Krishna, singing poems for him. Likewise, in today's world, we do not see Krishna. We feel his absence more than his presence in this Kali Yuga. But we should take a lesson from these simple cowherd boys and girls that even though we cannot see God, we should still praise about him. We should not feel that he is absent. He is present, residing within us, and he is everywhere. We cannot see air, but it is there. Likewise, God is there and everywhere. So the cowherd boys and girls, they were narrating the plays and pranks of Krishna and Balaram, Krishna's elder brother, during their 15 years in Vraj. Krishna was the light of their eyes and the song of their lives. I heard a beautiful quote somewhere that birds fly as they have faith in their wings, and humans fly with the wings of faith. Hope it teaches us something. So soon Udhav reached Nand's house Krishna's foster father. Delighted to meet him, Nand began recounting stories of Krishna as a boy with great affection. He introduced Uddhav to Krishna's foster mother, Yashoda. All glories to Krishna's foster parents, Yashoda and Nand Maharaj. Uddhav, tell us, does Krishna still remembers us? This is what Mother Yashoda asked. Uddhav said, yes, he does remember you as much as he remembers to wake up every day. This question, even though this question, even though Yashoda asked, but this is what we also ask. Does God remember us? Yes, He does. God remembers us. We make one thing and we never forget about it. Likewise, our Father, God, Krishna, He made all of us. How can He forget us? So Krishna told Uddhav to give a message to all the residents of Vrindavan. And Uddhav tells now everyone that Krishna asked me to tell you to think of him as the self that resides in all. Krishna is unborn and undying. Physically, he may appear like any other man. Yet, his identity is not defined by his body and his extensions. He is that transcendental self that is unattached to any place or person. Yet, he pervades every place and every person. He belongs to all who love him. And this is the beauty of Krishna. You love him, you own him. He is yours. He hides in the innermost self of everyone. That's Krishna. He is a total thief. Like we discussed in our previous episode, introducing the blue boy, which was a beautiful surprise, that how he conquers everything. Even our miseries, our sorrows, jealousy, anger, everything. So Nand and Yashoda, along with the village boys and girls who had gathered around them, quietly listened with unblinking eyes to Uddhav, because he was talking about their the most favorite subject. Oh, the beautiful Krishna. Now, from a distance, Gopis, when they saw Uddhav, they thought it's Krishna, because Uddhav appeared like Krishna. He was closely associated with Krishna. So he started looking like Krishna. That is why it is said in our Vedic scriptures that we should choose our association wisely. If we are being surrounded with millionaires, we will be the next one. Likewise, if we are surrounded with godliness, with God, His devotees, we will become one of them. We may be a millionaire, but if we lack devotion to the one who created us, sorry to say, but we are in a condition worse than that of a beggar. So we should beg to God for His love and devotion. Uddhav, with his philosophy, tried to explain Krishna's way of life to the gopis. He said, you see, Krishna is everywhere, in and around you, like your own existence. How can you or anyone else then experience any separation from him? Is he not established in your own self? He cannot stay away from you. Why don't you meditate on his formless existence? Meditate? How? With what instrument do we meditate? We are not educated. You see, the gopis expressed their helpless desperation. Uddhav showed off his knowledge. Meditate by concentrating your mind. The gopis giggled. But our mind no longer stays with us, you see. Bewildered, Uddhav asked, "Where have your minds gone?" They said, "We have just one mind each, and that has run away with Krishna." Uddhav fell utterly silent. The gopis continued, "From where does one get a spare mind to meditate on the formless Krishna that you speak of? By the way, where did you say this formless Krishna lived?" "We have worshipped our blue boy, Krishna, with our hands and loved him with our hearts. He decorated our hair with his own fingers and caressed us with his own limbs. Since he left, Vraj has turned to ashes for us." Uddhav now played his trump card. "Krishna has not forgotten you even for a moment. You are always in his mind. In fact, he asked me to deliver his message to you." He then read out Krishna's unwritten love note. The gopis listened with their eyes wide open and ears perked up. "My beloved gopis, the reason I had to part with you was to ensure that you would never be separated from me. Parting of bodies only makes the hearts grow fonder and the souls thirsty. Parting is to love what a storm is to fire. If your love is flickering flash fire of lust, the storm of parting will put it off. But if your love is like the unwavering flame of devotion, the storm of parting will turn it into blazing, all consuming, and purifying bonfire. That is why I have kept myself hidden from you. You will look for me everywhere until you find me in the depth of your own hearts. Then your minds will become completely saturated with my presence. Do not grieve. Your devotion is only deepening my presence inside your hearts." Now, the gopis, the simple gopis, they got excited as they heard Uddhav deliver Krishna's message to them. Uddhav himself began to experience the devotion that the gopis had for Krishna. He wondered, it must have taken several births and thousands of years of evolution to reach this state of exalted love and devotion. This shows that whenever we come in contact with Krishna's devotees, our life gets changed. Our stone-like heart melts, and we also get in touch with God by having devotion in our heart. It's just like rain turning a barren land into a fertile land. Uddhav now clearly understood that why Krishna had sent him to Vraj. The pride that Uddhav had acquired about the supremacy of his bookish knowledge got tempered by devotion and pure love. This episode, why is this favorite of mine, is, in a world where we are all trying to be someone we are not, but we want to be, we often forget that how difficult it is to be simple, to be us, and how tough it is to be something or someone we are not. Let's take a pause right now on Pauzeitive. In this pause, let's leave all that we are not. Imagine we are carrying that huge baggage of fakeness on our shoulders. Let's leave it. Let's drop it right now in this moment and move ahead in our lives, making a promise to our own self that from this moment, I will be my real self. I don't want to impress any human but God. And that I will do with utmost sincerity, love, and devotion. Coming back to the present moment and diving deep into this beautiful episode and the conversation that has been going on Pauzeitive, the story of Udhav was over. Now it's time for some questions. How does one reach the state of devoted love that the Gopis experienced for Krishna? The answer is in faith. Birds fly as they have faith in their wings, and humans fly with the wings of faith. So, the answer to the question that how does one reach the state of devoted love that the Gopis experienced for Krishna lies in faith. Faith is the seed of devotion, and knowledge is the fruit. Faith is deep seated knowing without conflict or contradiction. The seed of a tree knows its potential for growth just as the bird knows about its potential to fly. When faith finds a suitable environment, it grows like a tree from the seed. When the tree bears fruit, this knowing of the seed is validated in the knowledge of the growth of the tree. Now you may ask, what is the difference between belief and faith? Belief is only a mental affirmation based on a good reason. A mental affirmation is not adequately convincing by itself. The body may often reject the mind's assertion. The body may offer its subtle resistance to the mind's belief. Faith is total acceptance of the head, the heart, and entirety of the body. There is no prayer that goes unanswered in the realm of faith. How powerful it is. The eagle pushes its newborn out of its nest on sheer faith. After an initial struggle, the eaglet learns to fly as that faith in flying is sown inside its body. The eagle does not worry about what would happen to the eaglet when pushed out. That would ruin its faith. So never doubt your faith. Was Radha's love for Krishna based on her devotion to him? This is another question. And Srimati Radharani, the beloved of Krishna, deserves, absolutely deserves, one full-fledged episode on Pauzeitive. Answering the question, devotion is the ancestor of knowledge. Radha knew that she was an integral part of Krishna because of her devotion to him. Radha's devotion was the fragrance of Krishna's love. She offered him not just her sensuality or her body, she merged her own identity with that of Krishna. Of the 16,108 queens of Krishna, no one quite rose to that exalted state that had been attained by Radha and the Gopis. Radha's devotion was inseparable from Krishna's love, like water is inseparable from its fluidity. That is why the name of Radha always comes before Krishna's. The world remembers them as Radha Krishna. Jai Radha Krishna. If Krishna is the Purna Purusha, The complete being, Radha, is the Purna Prakriti, the whole of nature that manifests that being. Water cannot manifest without flowing. Krishna cannot manifest himself without Radha. Her devotion merged her with him and in him. Another question: what is the meeting point of devotion and love? This I will answer with another beautiful tale of Krishna's another beautiful pastime. So one day, Krishna was restlessly pacing, tossing and turning in his palace in Dwarka with a severe and persistent headache. The royal physician diagnosed it as a rare flu caused by a viral infection. He was perplexed as there was no known remedy for this disease. However, Krishna intuitively knew, being God, about an unfailing remedy. Now, this should be noted. The cure he suggested was rather unusual. He said, if my devotees agreed to allow the dust of his or her feet to be rubbed on my head, I have a chance to be cured. Narad Muni, a great devotee of Krishna, who was visiting him around that time, was mortified to hear about the headache that the Lord of Love was suffering from. Krishna requested him to bring the dust from one of his true devotee. Narad thought to himself, I am his greatest devotee and I utter his name day in and day out. Yet, how can I offer the dust of my feet to my Lord? That would be the height of sacrilege. Narad rushed to the devotees and several wives of Krishna with a request to offer the dust of their feet to alleviate the divine being's suffering. They moaned, how can we do that? Wouldn't that pave our path to hell? How can a doting wife insult a husband like that? Narad went about asking almost everyone whom he considered to be a devotee of Krishna in Dwarka. No one would dare violate the dharma of a devotee that put the divine on a higher plane worthy of worship. Placing the dust of their feet on a divine being's head would be a dharma, a violation of a sacrosanct principle. Narad returned to Krishna crestfallen. Meanwhile, Krishna was feeling more feverish and his headache was intensifying. Now, this doesn't mean that Krishna was actually having a headache. This was just a Leela, a divine play of Krishna. So he looked at Narada's solemn face and asked, have you tried speaking to Radha and to the Gopis of Vraj? What? Those village girls who romanced with you in Vrindavan, what would they know about devotion? Narad retorted, just give that a try as a last resort and see what they have to say. Krishna smiled mischievously. So Narad reached Vrindavan and met Radha and the Gopis, who were surprised to see him. Narad explained the situation and asked for their help. So Radha spoke on behalf of the Gopis that we are not exalted devotees of Krishna as much as you are. This is the true quality of a devotee. That whosoever is a devotee of the great Lord thinks like he's a fallen being and he is nowhere near to be the true devotee of the God. So whosoever boasts that, okay, I am a devotee, I am such a great devotee, he actually is not a devotee. This is what Srimati Radharani herself said to Narad, that we are not exalted devotees of Krishna as you are. But she was the most supreme one, and she truly is. We do not know much about dharma and adharma, the sacred and the profane. All we know is that when Krishna suffers, we also suffer. So, for all those devotees whose heartbeat lies in the deities that they worship, you can touch you can hug your deities with utmost love and the devotion that you carry in your heart. Because with love and devotion from the tale of Gopis and Radharani, it is clear now that love and devotion makes you qualified enough to be closer to your God. So all we know is that when Krishna suffers, we also suffer. If something as little as the dust of any of our feet helps Krishna recover, we are happy to give you that. Here, take whatever dust you can gather from us, even if this means risking our passage to hell. It will not deter us from this act of love for our beloved Krishna. Now, all the devotees, all the exalted devotees like Narad and all the wives of Krishna and all other devotees residing in the Dwarka, who thought that it is adharma to give the dust of our feet to Krishna to be put on his head, and we'll fall into hell. So they declined. They said no to the offer. But Radharani and Gopis, whom all the exalted devotees, like the great philosophers we see in this materialistic world, they thought that they are not devotees of a higher standard as them. They willingly said that yes, giving our dust is nothing. We are not devotees in the first place. But if giving away our dust means relief to our God, here, take whatever you can gather. And if that means we are going to hell, we are ready because we love Krishna. Hell or heaven, if we have Krishna, we love Krishna, we are in heaven. So Narad was both astounded and delighted. He took the dust of the feet of the gopis and brought that to Krishna in Dwarka. Krishna reported that his headache was gone and the fever came down soon. He turned to Narad with that mischievous smile that refused to leave his face. He said, "Did you see that true love and devotion are both unconditional and identical? Love, in all its purity, cannot be sensed by the head or the five senses alone. This love can be grasped only through pure devotion, which is a quality of the seventh sense. The gopis have shown you through their simple action that love and devotion are one at the root. The gopis will be remembered as my greatest lovers and my most earnest devotees in the times to come. Hail to the great devotees of the greatest Lord Shri Krishna." So I hope this episode brings some clarity and wisdom on our path of spiritual progress. Until our next pause, stay positive. Namaste.